CAFOD's first National Online Assembly. I'm Aisha.
And I'm Layla.
And we're your hosts for today.
And we're here to share with you how you can be involved in making this a summer of hope.
Hi, I'm Preeti and I live in Suffolk, and we want to help bring the summer of hope.
Hello, my name is Isabel and I live in London, and we're here to help bring the summer of hope.
Hello, my name is Bella and I live in Nottingham, and we are here to help bring a summer of hope.
Hi, my name is Cora, I'm from Cardiff and I'm here to bring a summer of hope.
Hi, my name's Robert and I live in Nottinghamshire, and we're here to help bring a summer of hope.
Hello, my name's Lauren and I'm from Merseyside, and we're here to help bring a summer of hope.
We are here,
And we are here.
and we are here,
We are here
and we are here
To help bring a summer of hope.
We are here to help bring a summer of hope.
That might sound odd in a time that has been very challenging.
But hope offers all of us opportunity, and we believe that hope isn't passive but a way of expressing love.
We're going to start this morning hearing from Jess, who's going to share with us the work that CAFOD is engaged in across Latin America. Jess?
Thank you, Layla. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jess Mitchellmore, and I'm the Communications Officer for CAFOD's Latin America and Caribbean team. I hope you and your families are well at this time. Today I'd like to tell you a little bit about some of the challenges that communities in Latin America are facing and what CAFOD's partners are doing to respond to the coronavirus crisis. CAFOD's partners in Latin America are working in Bolivia, Peru, Colombia, Brazil, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Honduras, and Guatemala. I wonder what your experience of the coronavirus has been so far. Perhaps a loved one has been unwell or someone in your family has lost their job. Many families in Latin America have the same worries that you and your families have. And just like here, families in Latin America, Africa, Asia, and the Middle East have been forced to stay at home because of the lockdown. But what that means for the world's poorest countries is often very different to what we are experiencing here in the UK. While we have a good healthcare system here, many countries in Latin America are simply not able to cope with the healthcare crisis. There are not enough beds, hospital equipment, testing kits, and it's often very difficult to access clean water and soap for washing hands. Many poor families in Latin America live in very crowded spaces where it's almost impossible to keep 2 meters distance. In Latin America, many families need to go out to work each day so that they can earn money to put food on the table. Because of the lockdown, people are not able to go out, and families are being forced to decide between staying at home or feeding their families. Which one would you choose? I'd like to tell you about Gracie. She's 13 years old and lives in Venezuela. Gracie and her family have to stay at home because of the lockdown, and Gracie is very worried about falling behind at school. Gracie is also worried about her mum, who is often very stressed out because Gracie's mum doesn't know how she's going to put food on the table for Gracie and her 3 other siblings during the lockdown. In the face of all these challenges, I'm really pleased to say that CAFOD's partners in Latin America, in Africa, in Asia and the Middle East are really trying their very best to respond to poor communities during this very difficult time. One of the most vulnerable groups in Latin America are the indigenous communities living in the Amazon. They are very at risk because they often live very far away from hospitals, and their communal way of life, which means often doing things in big groups, puts them at very high risk. CAFOD's partners are providing the most vulnerable members of Indigenous communities in the Brazilian Amazon with food and hygiene kits with things like gloves, face masks and bleach to stop the spread of the virus. Another important step that Indigenous communities are taking is to stop people entering their communities that do not live there. Here is Louisa, an Indigenous woman from the Brazilian Amazon who was standing guard, and here is a sign which says that only those that live in the community may enter. When I look at Louisa, I'm in awe of how strong and brave she is and how determined she is to protect her community with the very few resources that they have. CAFOD's partners are working in many different ways to respond to the coronavirus crisis, from raising awareness on how to stop the virus to sharing messages of hope and solidarity on the radio about the type of world that we want to build once this crisis is over. I hope you now understand a little bit more about some of the challenges that communities are facing, and I hope you are inspired by what CAFOD's partners are doing at this very difficult time.
Thank you so much for sharing, Jess. We have a sister who's 13 and would never want to imagine her in Gracie's position. As we said earlier, we believe that hope is active.
It is an action that can transform injustice, and just as we're living in the time of a pandemic, we believe hope is also contagious.
So we're going to take the next moment to think about what we mean by hope and how it can change us.
Everything has changed so quickly. The world that we once knew has been left behind. Because of the coronavirus, we are now looking out for each other to help protect the vulnerable. For many of us, these are challenging times. Never have we been so separated, and yet never have we been so connected. We are coming together as a community. We are looking out for each other. And despite our isolation, we are still reaching out with faith, love, and hope. We now look to our global family, where over half of the world's population lacks access to basic medical care. We know the real challenges that lay before us. We know that we need to be there too, to reach out to those who need our help. We can rise to this challenge. If this lockdown has taught us anything, it is to look out for those who need our help the most, to protect the vulnerable, and to shine the light of hope during these dark days. Because hope is not a feeling or sentiment. It is love in action. It is to reach out, to help others through these challenging times. This is what our faith calls us to do, and it is what love compels us to do. For faith and love always leads to hope, and hope is contagious.
So just as we see hope as active, so is our faith. I'm now going to ask Chris to tell us something about how we can get involved in the Summer of Hope.
Thanks, Layla. This summer is a summer like no other. We're all staying apart from families, from friends, from school, from clubs and groups and other events. Events that have been cancelled or postponed are things like the Olympics or Wimbledon or even Glastonbury, the school sports day and the summer fair and the big family barbecue, or that trip to the beach. I'm likely missing out on a trip to Scotland with one of my friends. However, we are still called to be signs of hope to the world. Pope Francis has said, all it takes is one good person to restore hope. You and I, we can be that hope with our families by helping to make sure that clean water and food reach some of the poorest in the world during this global emergency. By joining CAFOD's Summer of Hope, you can come together with families across the country who are recreating events they've missed out on. By celebrating summer and by celebrating hope. For example, recreate a sports day in your back garden. Set yourself a target to do. Perhaps challenge your friends to do the same thing and all get sponsored. Or the summer fair. Create your own guess the number of sweets in a jar game. Or the jumping sack race. Ask people to donate and to take part. Or if it was Glastonbury, well, we're not asking you to build the pyramid stage in your back garden. You can create a Spotify playlist and have a sing-along with your friends and have people to donate to pick a track, or simply give a few pounds for the fun that you're having. Tweet about it, Instagram about it, share your hope with others, and make sure to @CAFOD so we can celebrate the hope you're bringing as well. Or even if you're an avid TikToker, post about the amazing events you create, with the permission of the people involved, of course, and the hope that you share and the money that you raise. Make sure to mention CAFOD. For more information, tips and ideas, go to cafod.org.uk/Summer of Hope. Your action of hope can mean fewer families have to ask, how can I keep my child safe if we don't have water for hand washing? Thank you. Keep on sharing hope. Back to you, Aisha.
Wow, Chris, those all sound great. I can't wait to host a Zoom party with my friends.
Our final input today is from Coyote, who's talking to us from Sierra Leone.
Here's a message for all those who support our work.
I think first is to say that, number one, we need your support in prayers. And we know that CAFOD volunteers, CAFOD supporters have never failed to work alongside us in our times of greatest need. We know during Ebola, during cholera, during the various outbreaks, the mudslide, the flooding, CAFOD supporters, CAFOD volunteers have always worked alongside us in our times of our greatest need. We know that your prayers and your donations keep hope alive, and it propels us to do all we can to protect communities from this global pandemic. That please continue to pray for us, continue to help us in whatever little way you can with those donations. Nothing at this time is going to be too small. Where gradually schools are closed, children are at home, but with no food. Mothers are at home, but with no food. And we're not going to cease to continue to thank you from deep within our hearts for all that you have been doing, not just only for Syria alone, but for every part of the world where CAFOD has been working. And I'm sure that I'm echoing what's every part of the world where we work as CAFOD, what our communities and people will be saying, that they are most grateful that they have brothers and sisters in the other part of the world who are holding them up in thoughts and in their prayers, but who are also helping them out with their little donations that is helping to bring hope and succor to the people.
God of hope, we pray for our families and friends, our school communities and the communities where we live. May we continue to support each other with generosity and hope. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer.
God of hope, we pray especially for the poorest communities without healthcare, clean water or enough food. May our action be a sign of hope for all. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer.
Pray for everyone who has lost a loved one to coronavirus, and for all those who are working hard to care for others at this time. Give them hope and strength. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer.
God of hope, we pray in a moment of silence for ourselves. Fill us, Lord, with your peace and healing, restoring hope as you touch our hearts. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer.
Wow, now I'm really inspired.
It just remains for us to say thank you for being with us this morning
and for all you do to support our work.
We hope that you feel as inspired as us to make this summer a summer of hope.